What's up, fellow realtors and tech junkies? If you have a reMarkable 2 like I do, you probably love it. And I love mine, but I haven't been able to use it for a few months because while I was traveling, I had it under my arm and reached for something, forgetting that it was there, and I dropped it. And it dropped on the corner where the charging port is. And while there was no other damage, it dented the charging port so that I can't get a charging cable in it. And finally decided to break down and perform some surgery. Found a couple of videos that were pretty helpful, but not spot on for a couple of screw locations. And I just wanted to make this video. I've kind of already started performing a surgery, so it's not going to be strictly from start to finish. I already have the back off and things like that. But I do want to show you where the screw holes are to get the sidebar off because that part was not very clear in either of the videos. So, that being said, let's get to surgery. All right, so let's get our light on here so we can see what we're doing. And we'll switch to the desktop camera view on the Insta360. The InstaLink 360 is a great camera. Not really doing too well here with this particular lighting because of the reflective metal. But anyway, so here's what happened. I have this awesome folio case for it. I love this folio holder. I don't like the one that is offered by reMarkable because one, it's ridiculously expensive, and two, the sleeve that holds the pencil does not hold it very well and it tends to fall out. So I went with this option from Amazon. I'll link to it in the description down below. And in this moment of surgery, this actually ended up working very well. So it has this sticky part right here that the back of your reMarkable sticks to. You line up the holes here in these divots. You've got feet on the back of your reMarkable, and you can see these divots here. You just line the feet up in there and you stick it right on. Well, this sticks so well that when it was time to perform the surgery and be able to access the back, get the back peeled off of the reMarkable 2 tablet, I was actually able to pull on this a bit. And because this is so sticky, it started to actually peel the back off with it and give me just enough of a gap that I could get a razor blade down in there. So just using a razor knife like this, I was able to just kind of work along like this to get that all taken care of and slide the razor blade in there and get that done. So here is the back. So you've got your feet there and they actually go all the way through. So when you are slicing with the razor blade in between like this, you want to be sure that you just kind of lift up on the corner and don't slice through, or you will actually slice off the back side of the feet. Okay, so that's how I was able to get the back off. And I will play around a little bit with the sticky stuff here, try to get that laid out, get that laid down better when it's time to put it back together. All right, and then one of the things that's not real clear, we're going to get our power button in here now. All right, so there's our power button in there. The power button is definitely problematic trying to keep that in there. So we're going to put that on like that. And then this just slides down like this. And then because mine is bent, you can see right there where it's bent so bad, it doesn't want to go back over the charging port. But what I wanted to show you is that when you look at those other two videos, they're not real clear. They show you that they point out that these horizontal spaces right here are where there's access to screws. And right now, you can probably see a little better that the screws aren't straight up and down. They're not behind the foil, not anything like that. You're actually going to come in like this with the screwdriver almost flat because the screws are in almost perfectly straight inside at a 90-degree angle. Don't know if I'm going to be able to show that. Might be able to show it from this side. Okay, and then right here, you can see that the screw goes in that way. Okay, so it's screwing it in this way and pulling it to the rest of the tablet. It's not going down from the top. So I just wanted to show that, make sure that part was clear. And then we'll keep filming as I perform the rest of this surgery. So I'll go ahead and get the power button out just to be safe. I don't want to lose that. We're going to set that aside. All right. So one of the things that I'm working with is the fact that this still won't let a cable go in there because this side of the port got flattened. So I have some needle nose pliers. We're going to try to bend that out. They're precision pliers that I got at Harbor Freight. I'll show you what they look like. So I have these guys, which probably are not going to work too well because they're still a little bit too big at the top. But I have these as well, and this is what we're going to be working with. So we got these tweezer pliers, and this is what we're going to use. All right. Let's see if we can get that in there. Hey, awesome. All right, so that was a nice, easy fix. That works. That is going in there nice and smoothly now. So this is the reMarkable cable that comes with it, and it is now going in there. So perfect. Now what we need to do, we're actually going to set this aside, keep it safe, and we are going to start filing this. So now that I have these needle pliers, I'm going to see if I can actually bend this back out. I doubt it, but we're going to try. So what we're going to do is I can't really, the way that it bent, I can't really bend it back. So I have some precision files here, and we're just going to file it until it is wide enough to accept the cable. So I've got this bag of needle files and find one that's going to work in there like this. Again, this was at Harbor Freight too. So now we'll just go in here. I want to be careful that I don't get any of these contacts though, because there are contacts down in there from the side connection. You can see where we have this here and through there. So I don't want to bend that. And we're just going to file this out of the way.
One eternity later.
So using the cable as a gauge, I can tell that that's still not wide enough to get in there. So that's how we're going to know how much we need to file to be able to get that in.
One eternity later.
Okay, so we're almost there. Just going to file a bit of this down. where it really got smashed on that corner. Just make sure we don't have anything that's in the way there. Here, just make sure we don't have any knurls on anything. That is like that. Okay, now grab our tablet and see if we can get this to go on here. So I need my power button, and the power button you can see, hopefully you can see, has a tab on one side that is longer than the other. And that longer tab is actually going to go to the inside towards the tablet. So that longer tab is going to go over here because right after the button, it starts to curve. So it won't work the other way. All right. And then we'll use our precision screwdriver to get that to sit down in there. Okay. And that's seated in there now. We can see that that's on there now. And then we're going to hold the tablet down so that we can get it to seat in there. And then we should be able to get this back on. All right, so it's definitely giving me some trouble trying to get over the USB connector right there. So we're gonna have to bend this out a little bit and see if we can get it to sit straight. I think all I need to do is just kind of bend this out a little. Let's see how that did. So our button is still seated in there well. And we are almost on over here. Okay, so we're just gonna bend that holder a little bit, make sure we're still gonna seat in there, and it will still seat in there, so that's good. The power button came out again. So let's get that. And we'll drop it into place. Get our precision screwdriver and get it seated in there. So that's seated in there now. And then that on. We're getting close. Okay. So There we go. Okay. So we got it on. Power button works. Our charging cable will go in now. Now, let's get plugged into a USB. And it says it's starting. So still dented, obviously, but it is accepting the charging cable, which is awesome. And we'll just make sure that it charges and should be good to go. So let's get the back on and get it all put back together. All right, so I'm gonna let this charge a little bit to make sure that everything is working before I take the time to put it together, because I don't want to have to take it apart again. We'll see how it goes. I will say I was a bit tempted because at the time of recording this video, it is September 4th of 2024, and the new reMarkable Paper Pro with color just came out today. However, it's like $600. It's twice as much as this, if not more. And as much as I wanted to, I bit the bullet and did not do that. Decided to perform surgery instead. Um, it actually would have been easier for me to buy that, but I don't want to part with all of that money. So thought I would perform the surgery instead. And so far, so good. Let's see how we finish up here. Time to make sure that the patient's heart is beating and uh, put the patient back together and see how things go. And I lost two super tiny screws a minute ago, and now I have to get on the floor and see if I can find them. They are so small, I don't know that I'm going to be able to. Let's look. Okay, so I was able to find the screws, and when I tell you that these screws are small, they are probably the smallest screws I've ever seen and have very little thread. But I definitely want to make sure I'm putting things back together correctly. So, I mean, even if I was to hold this to the camera, you can't really even see it. Like it's a speck. That's how small that screw is. And there's two of them. And they go right here next to the sidebar. And I thought originally this is what had to be unscrewed to be able to get the sidebar off. And they do not have to come off. So just know that when you're working on your own, if you do, they do not have to be unscrewed at all. So that one's in. And then this one over here. They're so tiny. Okay, we're going to get this one on right here. You definitely need a precision screwdriver like this to be able to work on the reMarkable, because all the screws are very, very tiny. All right. And these screws are actually, there we go. We can kind of see it now. The screws are actually down in here. So you're going to come at it from a sharp angle like that to get those screws down. In fact, you can see the magnetic tip of the screwdriver just picked up that screw. So that's how they're in there, is from the side like this. So we'll get this on. And then we'll get that screwed in. It is not easy working with these little pieces. In fact, this Phillips head is almost a little bit too big. So we're going to try to get it forced into the hole there. I go to this one. Yeah, that's my tinier of the two screwdrivers. So I'm going to go with this one. And I'm probably going to have to get my super precision screwdriver set just to make this work. All right, so we got that one on. And we got that one on too. Yep, those are in. All right, those are both in now. All right, let's see how we're doing charging. Out of battery. Okay, so it does look like it's trying to work, so we're going to let it charge and come back once it's charged a while. All right, so I've given the tablet some time to charge. So we hit our power button. Look at that. And it came up. Now, full disclosure, before I started recording, it said that it was still out of battery. I held the power button until it cycled to power up. It gave the status indication bar at the bottom of the screen here because it said reMarkable is starting, gave the power indication bar, and booted up. All right, so it looks like we are good to go. And now we're just going to put on the back. I've tried to get the sticky stuff stretched out and put back where it needs to go. Same with the sticky stuff that stayed on the back panel. You can see it's got some waves in it. This right here, not quite sure this is going to lay down very good. So you can actually pull it up a bit and just try to stretch it out. But then it wants to kind of separate. So I'm just going to hope for the best and get the back put back on. All right. So one thing we want to do is it's supposed to slide just inside of the sidebar here. So we're going to try to get that. It's not very easy, that's for sure. So I can probably just get it to go into one of these corners like this. And then what I think I'm going to do is just make sure that we're sitting in the holes the way that it's supposed to. And I think I'm okay if it doesn't quite go back in there. I'll do my best to get it to go back in there. But as long as it just goes on here where I can get it in another case, I would be totally fine with that. The point is it's working, and that's what I really like. Okay, so we can see still kind of sticking up there. I'll do my best to get it worked in. It does seem to be going in where it needs to everywhere else. So that's good. And just kind of work that with my fingernail. And I think I can get most of it in. Because these are lining up where they're supposed to. So that is a very good sign. And we just kind of press all of that back together. All right. And use a credit card here to kind of smooth things out, get it in its grooves. Okay, so now let's go to a quick sheet here. So let's go to a quick sheet and make sure that everything's working. Hey, looks good. We are back in business. Successful surgery. Well, the surgery was a success. The patient has survived and is back in working order. I do have a little bit that I have to do to try to get this back underneath the groove of the sidebar. But if I can't, I'm not that worried about it. It's going to be sitting inside a folio. This time, actually, had one of my friends give me a new one. So we're going to be using this one this time. And it actually slides in. So it's going to slide into this and hopefully protect it a little better. I love the reMarkable too. I love it for its intended purpose, which is taking notes and organizing files and notes. Reading books on it as a tablet. I don't even like to read, but there's business books that I do want to and force myself to read for personal development purposes. And so it's great for that. I like it way more than an iPad because there's nothing on here to get distracted with. You're either reading books, articles, or taking notes. And that's the purpose it serves. I absolutely love it. Glad that I was able to get it back in working order with a little bit of surgery. Surgery was a success. And if you haven't already, check out my unboxing video of this and my first impressions. And I will see you in the next one. Remember, as always, have fun and explore the technology.